Skip, remind you now, he only weighed 144, so he was basically 10 pounds, basically under the weight. But he wiped it out.
A much smaller guy just because he's at the end of the road. But the fight's so big and the money's so big, he's going to have to take it. I bet he retires after that fight.
Canelo have to start playing catch up in rounds 4, 5, 6. Believe me, by the 7th round, Canelo is going to be a little muscle fatigued, right? We've seen that.
Shannon Sharpe strongly warned Canelo Alvarez about facing Terence Crawford, suggesting the fight could end badly for Canelo. He emphasized Crawford's superior speed, skill, and stamina, hinting that the bout might be more than just a loss. It could potentially mark the end of Canelo's dominance in the boxing world. Canelo Alvarez revealed he now has a retirement plan, reflecting on his 20-year career as a professional boxer. He admitted that after so many years in the ring, the desire to explore life beyond boxing grows stronger, and sometimes he simply wants to do something different with his time.
Has retirement ever crossed your mind? Have you ever thought about that?
I always say like 37 is good time to go. It's not because I can't be in the boxing anymore, but you know, sometimes you need to do something else. So I'm being in October I turned 20 years as a professional fighter. So it's meant a lot of years. So
Eddie Hearn, the longtime promoter and close insider to Canelo Alvarez's career, has sparked fresh speculation by stating that this upcoming fight with Terence Crawford could be Canelo's final bout. According to Hearn, the Mexican superstar may be reaching the end of his legendary journey, and the Crawford challenge might be the ultimate test that signals his retirement. This statement doesn't come lightly. Hearn has been with Canelo through multiple phases of his career and understands the physical and mental toll the sport has had on him. With nearly 2 decades in the professional ring, Canelo could be seeking closure through this fight, closing his chapter against one of the most technically brilliant boxers of the era.
Do you see that fight now differently based on how Canelo performed against Skull Eddie?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah? Oh, wow.
It wasn't just the fact that he couldn't cut the ring off. I just feel like the timing now, the age, Canelo is amazing. I mean, not just because of his ability and what he's accomplished, but the fact that he still has the desire for those training camps and those fights. But I just feel like that desire might be fading a little bit. Not because of his love for, but just because of age and life. Do you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, like the Crawford fight will definitely get him up for it. But I was actually watching that fight thinking I wouldn't be surprised if he retired and actually didn't fight Crawford, because I don't think he'll want to lose to Crawford, a much smaller guy, just because he's at the end of the road. But the fight's so big and the money's so big, he's going to have to take it. I bet he retires after that fight.
Canelo's recent performance against John Ryder, and, more notably, against William Skull, raised concerns for Eddie Hearn. He observed signs of aging, slower combinations, lack of sharpness in head movement, and notably, a decrease in punching power. The once feared explosiveness that defined Canelo's mid-career seems to have dimmed. Bernie, one of Crawford's close team members, echoed immense confidence in Terence's ability to beat Canelo. He didn't just call Crawford a great, he called him a legend. What's more surprising is the shift in support among Mexican fans. While Canelo remains a national icon, even some loyal supporters are beginning to tilt toward Crawford. This isn't just about fandom, it's about seeing skill, momentum, and hunger. Bernie pointed out that Crawford's performances have captured respect globally, and even Canelo's base recognizes how dangerous Bud is. When admiration begins to cross borders like this, it speaks volumes about what kind of legacy Terence Crawford is building.
Yeah.
Now, the man said, now it's both good. Say, not going to beat me. You say, I'm telling you, I guarantee I'm going to beat you. So you know what I'm saying? That's how Crawford is. That's how he feels. He believes in his heart. And you could tell it. You could look him in his eyes. You know what I mean? And a lot of people believe that Crawford going to win this fight. And a lot of Mexican people.
Yeah, they supporting him. They supporting him.
A lot of Mexican people. you know, so they got their formula why Crawford going to beat him. But it's a tremendous fight. I think Canelo, like I say, is a living legend. You know, everything that he do. A lot of people don't like him. A lot of Mexicans don't like him, but I love him. I think he does everything good in the ring. I think, you know, from swag to everything. I just love Canelo. I can't take it away from him. You know, he had them little allegations and everything.
Yeah.
And that's a damper on him, but I try not to focus on that. You know what I mean? I know he got in there with the baddest guys, the toughest guys, and he came through with flying colors. So I give him all the credit, going up there fighting Bivol when nobody knew who Bivol really wasn't paying attention to him. That man was a 25-year-old champion, the reigning champion, title defense under his belt, and young and good. And Canelo fought him. So, you know what I'm saying? That was a challenge. You feel me? Had the height, had the reach, had a lot of, you know what I mean? So I give Canelo none but credit. I thank him for allowing us to get this fight. And you see what Crawford said. I didn't get to get, Canelo got to fight these guys with the names. I didn't necessarily get to fight all the guys with the names when I wanted to. But I got him.
Yes.
And that's the how it comes around full circle. And when God got it for you, nobody can be against you. And so I think he's the most deserving fighter of that outside of Benavidez. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Besides that, but Benavidez still doesn't bring the super fight dynamic to it.
Yes.
It's a really good fight with Benavidez, but this is a super fight.
Exactly.
We have legends fighting each other. David Benavidez has yet to become a legend. He's still growing in the sport.
Absolutely.
Crawford is a legend. 14 years in the sport, 10 years as champion, 11 years going on. You understand? Undisputed 2 different times, fighter of the year, all those different things. So, like I say, and the mystique of Crawford is legend in itself. The mystique of Crawford. So, I mean, you know, so it's a super fight. Again, I thank Canelo Alvarez for taking the fight.
Former middleweight champion Kelly Pavlik gave a blunt and honest take on the matchup. Contrary to popular belief, he labeled Crawford as the bigger guy in terms of strength and effectiveness in the ring. Pavlik emphasized Crawford's raw talent, tactical control, and insane physicality. But more telling was his critique of Canelo. Pavlik feels that in recent fights, Canelo has fought conservatively, not aiming to dominate or knock out opponents, but merely to avoid defeat. This style may not be enough against someone as hungry and dynamic as Crawford. The contrast Pavlik draws is clear. One man is climbing toward greatness, the other is trying to hold on.
Class, and he's a great fighter. I mean, that's it. Crawford is so talented. He's got so much ability in boxing, his boxing ability. And he's a bigger guy, too. He's almost every bit as big as Canelo, right? So that's what makes it tough. Like, yeah, Canelo's used to fighting guys coming down from 200, probably, you know, at light heavyweight. And Crawford ain't. But it's just too hard to pick on it because of Crawford's ability and boxing skills. I'm not going off of Canelo's last fight. You know, the guy he was fighting was in survival mode pretty much. He was just fighting not to get knocked out. When you fight a guy like that, you're not going to look good, right? I don't care what anybody says. When you fight a guy that's running around trying to survive, it makes it hard. So I don't go off of that, but this fight is going to be interesting. I mean, I would almost have to kind of lean with Canelo, but I'm not making that pick. Just saying, guys, so nobody come at me. I'm going to sit back and enjoy this one, not worrying about anybody, you know, saying, hi, you're wrong, or talking. But it'll be a good one.
Renowned trainer Robert Garcia added fuel to the conversation, agreeing with the notion that Canelo has noticeably shifted away from aggressive knockouts. Garcia said it plainly, Canelo is tired. Having fought professionally since he was just a teenager, Canelo has worn the grind of boxing on his shoulders for nearly 20 years. The precision and calculated risks of his early career have given way to a more cautious approach, likely to preserve energy and reduce damage. Garcia's statement is not criticism. It's an acknowledgement of Canelo's wear and tear. He has been through wars, carried boxing on his back, and the cost is now surfacing inside the ring.
Why is it that Shiraz was able to knock out Berlanga, but not Canelo?
It's because Canelo doesn't go out for the knockout anymore. Canelo's just now, you know, we've seen in the last few fights, he just does enough to win. He did the same again, Munguia. He dropped Munguia, but then they didn't want to finish him. Charlo, Berlanga. He wants to cruise through the fight. You know, he's up there, you know, in not in age because he's only like 33 or 34, but he's
fighting since 15.
He was 15. A lot of training camps, a lot of sparring matches. So all that takes a lot out of your body. So he takes care of his body too. So he doesn't go all out because he doesn't want to just finish his body. He knows he still has a few more years and a few big fights where he wants to take care of himself. and not punish himself too much. That's why he hasn't been able to knock those guys out. Not because he can't. I think he just does enough to win. I think Shiraz also has great power, man. I think Shiraz has the power that nobody believed he had.
Popular analyst Showbiz, the adult, described the Crawford-Canelo fight as potentially history-making. Beating Canelo, one of boxing's biggest global stars, would elevate Terence Crawford to legendary status. It's not just about titles anymore. It's about legacy. However, Showbiz also pointed to the double-edged sword of greatness. If Crawford dominates too well, conspiracy theories might rise. People may question how a smaller fighter outclassed someone like Canelo. In the social media age, greatness often invites suspicion. The bigger the victory, the louder the noise. For Crawford, this could be both the pinnacle of his career and the start of a narrative war he'll have to deal with post-fight.
Is going to attempt to do something that is so incredible, so magnificent, so amazing as a fighter and for his legacy, in trying to beat Canelo Alvarez, the 168-pound undisputed champion. My fear is, if he does that, if he accomplishes that, if he is able to succeed in accomplishing such a magnificent goal, people will immediately discredit Terence Bud Crawford and his victory, calling him a drug cheat.
Veteran sports commentator Stephen A. Smith, known for his candid views, gave a clear prediction. He sees Terence Crawford winning this fight on points. According to Smith, Crawford's discipline, ring IQ, and control of tempo could earn him a unanimous decision against the bigger but slower Canelo. Stephen A. pointed out that while Canelo remains dangerous, his output in recent fights has dipped, and Crawford thrives in longer battles that go the distance. A decision win, especially over 12 intense rounds, would cement Crawford's standing as not just the best active fighter, but one of the greats of the modern era.
You got a love for boxing.
Yes, love
Who
boxing.
gonna win the fight, man? That's coming up, the biggest
Crawford.
fight in boxing.
Crawford.
Huh?
Crawford. I'm not hesitating. Crawford. I'm not even hesitating. Crawford.
You
will
gonna stand on that all the way to September 13th?
I love Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo by decision. I can't see anybody knocking out Canelo Alvarez. But I do believe that if you can box and you can move, that you can beat Canelo. You can outpoint him.
That's right.
When I think about Canelo, one of the things that I don't like about Canelo, despite his greatness, and a neck as wide as Broadway for crying out loud,
Right.
it's like almost every shot has to be a power shot.
It's a power shot, yeah.
That's not beating Crawford. I will confess, I think Gervonta Davis's trainer, Cal, I think he said this. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage with Canelo, because Canelo is the naturally bigger, stronger fighter. And I don't care that Crawford's gotten bigger, and I don't care that Crawford's gonna go in there just as big as Canelo. Canelo is accustomed to fighting at the weight, and Crawford is not. And Canelo is a genius in this regard. You don't see him show up for fights not ready. He's always ready.
always prepared.
He's always
gotta
ready.
give
He's
him that.
always prepared. So I think he's the slower fighter, though. And I think that Crawford is brilliant as a boxer. And I think that between switching to conventional and southpaw, using his jab and movement, I think that Crawford is going to outpoint Canelo because he's faster. But I don't think he's gonna knock him out.
Terence Crawford confidently shared his thoughts ahead of the fight, acknowledging Canelo's size and pressure tactics. He isn't rattled, just calmly prepared for every scenario. His mindset shows both respect for Canelo and a strong belief in his own adaptability. It's this balance of humility and sharp focus that sets him apart.
Man, I'm feeling good. You know, work has been going great, and fight time we're gonna be prepared to put on a great show for you guys.
Has this been in your mind? We've been talking about it forever. Did you feel like this was eventually going to be the case, that you and Canelo were going to eventually get in there?
Not at all. Not at all. I didn't, think it was, a fight that he wanted. So I didn't really know. But, thanks to Turkey, Alashik, he made it possible. And, we got one of the biggest fights in the last decade, happening at Allegiant Stadium, September 13th.
when you get in there, what do you expect? Everyone's going to make, a size difference, but what do you expect when you get in there with Canelo?
I'm expecting Canelo to be Canelo. He's the bigger man. I expect him to, box a little bit, but I also expect him, to try to walk me down and be the bigger man. So, we expect everything in there.
Antonio, another member of Team Crawford, revealed that Terence already has his game plan mapped out, a strategy they believe will exploit every weakness in Canelo's current form. According to him, Crawford is not only preparing physically, but also tactically. He knows when to switch gears, when to counter, and when to pressure. But Antonio also gave credit where due. Canelo still has a chance. However, he emphasized that Canelo would need to fight with the urgency and explosiveness he showed in the Caleb Plant bout. That version of Canelo, aggressive and relentless, would stand a better shot. Anything less, and Crawford's execution might be too much to handle.
Terence got to be Terence, bro. He's a real deep thinker. He processed fights like nobody else. And he's processed this Canelo fight. He's seen it. He went through it 2 or 3 times already. He knows how this ends. You can tell the way he shadow boxes. He visualizing Canelo being right there in front of him. You understand? Look at the movement. That's all you got to do. Look at the movement. And that's the type of master boxer that Canelo is going to be facing. And the only thing I say is Canelo hasn't faced an opponent like this in a long time. You know what I mean? I think Canelo's going to have to go back to the Caleb Plant fight and look that good, that active, that, you feel me, moving with that type of grace to beat Terence Crawford. Because weight ain't going to make the difference. It ain't going to be the weight. It's going to be the skill set.
In a surprising twist, Canelo himself praised Crawford in an interview, placing him above some of the most iconic names in boxing history. This high praise speaks volumes about the level of respect Canelo has for Crawford. Coming from a fighter who shared the ring with Mayweather and was promoted by Oscar, it means something deeper. It's almost as if Canelo sees Crawford not as just another opponent, but as a potential successor to boxing greatness. Such words also hint that Canelo knows this fight will be unlike anything he's faced before.
The best fighter he has ever faced. He says that he believes that Terence Bud Crawford is better than legendary Hall of Famer Bernard Hopkins, Oscar De La Hoya. There's no shock there. Tito Trinidad. But the shock came in where he said that he believes he is definitely better than Russian superstar undisputed light heavyweight world champion who beat Canelo Alvarez, I thought, pretty handily, 9 rounds to 3. I thought 10 rounds to 2, but 9 rounds to 3 at worst. He beat Canelo Alvarez in Dimitri Bivol. And then he said that, but this is not a shocker, he said this before, that Terence Crawford is better than Floyd Mayweather. Now, I personally don't believe that. I believe that Floyd Mayweather is the better fighter. But nonetheless, Terence Crawford is a great in his own right. But this just goes to show that Canelo Alvarez has learned something, a thing or two, from Floyd Mayweather. He showed some things he took from Floyd Mayweather from their fight, which he lost every single round to a 36-year-old going on 37-year-old Floyd Mayweather. In 2013, he lost every single round to Floyd Mayweather, right? Floyd Mayweather always build up his opponents. Always, okay? He always build up his opponents. He never tear down his opponents. He learned, if you tear down your opponent, how you get credit for your opponent, for the win.
The fight may ultimately boil down to this. Terence Crawford needs to be himself, slick, strategic, and vicious when needed. His natural rhythm and style have dismantled every opponent he's faced. But for Canelo to stand a chance, he must show durability and composure like never before. He needs to remain unaffected by Crawford's accurate and often stinging shots. If Canelo can walk through the fire and keep pressing, it could tilt things in his favor. But if he slows down, shows signs of frustration, or struggles with Bud's angles, the fight could quickly slip away. It's a clash of will, style, and endurance.
If he's able to be aggressive not be affected by Bud's punches and just keep, attacking and imposing that will on him. And then Bud being a dog that he is, and, just saying, you know what, I'm going to go. I'm letting loose.
Yeah.
I think that can change the effect on Bud, and I think that will be the way that Alvarez can win that fight.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so what do you think? Obviously, if Bud remains slick, what outside of that could cause Canelo to lose this?
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.